So I'm here on my Town Hall 6 on Gold Pass Clash. This is day 12 of this new series here in 2023, and based on my calculation, I'm going to be going to Town Hall 7 tomorrow, literally day 13. It'll be over with day 14. So it got me thinking, what should I upgrade first once I get to Town Hall 7? So welcome, guys, to the Town Hall 7 Upgrade Guide of 2023. First of all, the things you want to know are that you get quite a bit of new buildings, and it's always kind of my initial go-to to say, get your new buildings as soon as you can. I mean, maybe if they take a day or two, maybe don't do them immediately, but like the immediate new buildings, get them as soon as you are able to, right? So like you get a new hidden Tesla, a new Barbarian King, you get a new Dark Elixir drill and a new Dark Elixir storage. Dark Elixir is new. I mean, you get it new at Town Hall 7. So what do you do with that? We'll talk about that. Dark Barracks as well. Big deal. You get troops that are new and exciting. You get a Seeking Air Mine, which destroys healers and dragons, so you definitely want to get that. And then you get an additional army camp, additional cannons, archer towers, walls, air defense, mortars, additional bombs, giant bombs. I mean, what do you do with all this stuff? Well, let's go to my Town Hall 7 and let's talk about it. Introducing my Max Town Hall 7 Ulysses, which was a star of a series that I did in a previous series on my channel. Let's go and talk first about the day one priorities of whenever you start Town Hall 7. So whenever I say day one priorities, I'm already assuming that you got the new stuff, at least the new stuff that's immediate, like the new traps and the Barbarian King altar, if you had the Dark Elixir already stored up or whatever. But what you want to do is focus on offense day one. And so the most obvious and easy first upgrade that you do without even thinking about it is your laboratory. And by the way, I'm going to back up a little bit and say, if you're going to be going to Town Hall 7, try to max out your stuff, because if you didn't max out Town Hall 6 but you went to Town Hall 7, then the upgrade guide won't apply to you because all the levels won't line up. But you do what you want on your base. I'm just suggesting you max out your stuff. I didn't max out. I'm not going to, but I'm only not maxing collectors and mines because you just get so much insane free loot at the early levels of Clash of Clans. I'm not really worried about collectors and mines all that much. So day one priority, upgrade number one, after you get the brand new stuff that takes no time at all, like the 50 new walls and stuff, is the laboratory. The second thing that I would look at is the treasury or the clan castle. But guess what? The clan castle does not get an upgrade at Town Hall 7. You literally don't have to worry about it. It's done. So second priority after the second priority that got canceled is the Spell Factory. And the Spell Factory does get an upgrade, and you will unlock the Rage spell, which compared to the spells you already have, like the Lightning spell and the Healing spell, the Rage spell is probably the most useful, especially with dragons. I know there's a heated debate about dragons and whether you use lightning spells or rage spells. I usually fall in the rage spell camp, but a lot of people like lightning spell with them too. Either way, you're not going to use healing spell unless you're using hogs. We'll talk about that in a moment. But either way, unlocking the rage spell and then getting an additional 2 spell capacity is huge. So definitely you want to make your Spell Factory your number 2 priority. Upgrade that thing as fast as possible. Now, if you're at Town Hall 7, you've only got 3 builders, then it's kind of a toss-up of what you upgrade next. I would, if it were me, probably unlock the dragons, which means upgrading your barracks. Dragons are huge. They're amazing. And they can really take you along. They can take you far in Town Hall 7. So definitely want to upgrade and unlock the barracks. And then the Dark Barracks is the next priority in offense. Now, I know the world isn't perfect. Life isn't perfect. You're not going to have maxed out loot all the time, though it's easier to do in the early stages of Clash of Clans than it used to be. But you're not always going to have all the loot that you need. So this upgrade guide is broken into categories where you want to mostly prioritize offense first, and then maybe resource stuff second, and then maybe defense is third, and then maybe traps fourth, or maybe you want to switch traps and defenses or whatever. But the best way for me to give you this guide, considering I don't know your farming strategies, I don't know if you're going to have max loot or time or builders at certain times of the game. All I can do is tell you what I would recommend doing in what order based on the category. And so offense is first. Offense is always going to be first. Don't worry about defense so much. offense is where it's at. So definitely want to get the laboratory and the spell factory immediately. I would recommend barracks day one as well, but then after this, it's just whenever you have the loot or whenever you feel like doing it. So the dark barracks gets 2 levels. You're going to unlock the minions first, which are largely useless. I mean, you'll use them, but they're not near as OP as the hogs, which you'll get at level 2. And I highly recommend getting to hogs as soon as possible and then practicing with hogs, because at Town Hall 8, Town Hall 9, Town Hall 10, they dominate. At least as far as I'm concerned. It's old meta, but these are old town halls, so hog riders is where it's at. And then the last one is army camps. You have 3 existing army camps that don't get an upgrade. It's just the new army camp that you get at Town Hall 7. Get that baby to the other levels, the max level 6, as soon as possible. It's going to give you 50 new troop capacity, and that's huge. So, I mean, I would almost say maybe start doing army camps before you do the barracks, but it's interchangeable. And then the last one is the king. And the reason why it's the last one is the king is because you don't have a lot of places to put your dark elixir. And you know, like not a lot of ways to spend dark elixir. So you're going to naturally upgrade those things pretty fast. And so I'm not going to prioritize the king. You'll max them out way before you're done with Town Hall 7, just because you have nowhere else to put your dark elixir. So that is the offensive lineup. Now let's move on to the resource infrastructure lineup. This isn't necessarily in order because there's only 6 buildings in the resource infrastructure list, and probably the top priority is getting the dark elixir storage, because otherwise you can't store it, right? You need to be able to store the dark elixir in order to upgrade your dark elixir things like your hogs and your minions in the laboratory or your king. So I would recommend getting the dark elixir storage very, very early. Other than that, if you see you need to upgrade something and you can't hold enough loot for it, upgrade the storages for it, okay? And I recommend doing these storages relatively soon as well. Day 2, day 3, something like that. And if anything on my recommendation says do this day 1, but you don't have enough storage to hold it yet, do the storages first. Okay. So, priority wise, I would say probably something like this would be more accurate. Dark elixir storage number 1, elixir and gold storages 2 and 3. And then dark elixir drill is last, because again, you're not going to struggle with getting dark elixir. It's going to happen. You're not going to, and things have gotten cheaper over time. And then the golden mine elixir collectors, you know, again, you want the free loot. There's no reason not to upgrade these things, but I haven't prioritized them myself. So really focus on those first 3. You will find at Town Hall 7 that dragons dominate everything, okay? So you want to defend the air. So get that new seeking air mine. You only get 1. And right, yeah, you only get 1, and it only gets 1 level. So get that thing as soon as possible. I think it might not be a 0-second upgrade, but either way, it should be a very early upgrade that you get. Your air bombs get 1 level as well, so upgrade all of those really quickly. So if somebody's using groups of bombs, balloons or whatever, then they'll be very effective. Giant bombs don't get another upgrade, but you get a new one, so get that thing up. That's very effective against hogs, which is your second top priority of defense for Town Hall 7. And then spring traps and bombs are kind of like an afterthought. They will likely be my last thing that I upgrade, because spring traps and bombs, you get 1 level for each of those as well. So that'll be like in-game Town Hall 7 stuff, really, because I'll probably prioritize defenses next, and that is the next section, which I think is probably the most exciting of all of them. Hey, Future Klaus here. I forgot to mention it in the first film, but I'm sticking this in right here. So I remind you guys, before we get into talking about the defenses, that you should always upgrade your new defenses first, because if you look at the numbers, if you upgrade a new like level 1 defense to level 2, you gain a few DPS and it only takes you a few minutes. Whereas if you're upgrading the existing defenses to the new level, the really high level, you're going to gain a few DPS in a few days. So the way to gain a lot more DPS in your base really fast is to upgrade your new defenses to level 2, 3, 4, whatever, than, you know, the existing one from 6 to 7 or whatever. So just wanted to give you guys that info. Now let's get back to the actual defense list. So in the past, I've done upgrade guides with defenses where I've compared the numbers, and that is more relevant later on in Clash of Clans, like higher Town Hall levels. But for Town Hall 7, it's really just about defending dragons, right? So you want to upgrade your air defenses, you want to upgrade your wizard towers, not really for the dragons, but for the balloons, the archer towers, and the Teslas. All of those, and by the way, the Teslas are the new defense, right? So you want to get those, you want to upgrade them, you get 3 levels for those, and they're hidden, so they're really cool. In fact, I would probably prioritize the Teslas over the Archer Towers. Just saying. And my own personal experience as well says that the Wizard Tower is probably the most effective defense overall against everything. So that's why it's prioritized number 2. So this would be just about the level. Just about the order. This is the first town hall where you're not really thinking much about mortars. People aren't going to be sending giant healer at you as much. That's not going to happen. So trying to destroy the giants or whatever is not a big deal. So the mortar really becomes kind of worthless at this point. The cannons as well. Cannons are good for taking out the king, but the Archer Tower and the Tesla can do that very well as well. So that's why those are higher priorities. So I would recommend upgrading them all in this order, honestly. Air defenses, wizard towers. You may not want to upgrade all 3 of your air defenses at the same time. You get 3, right? Yeah. So you may not want to upgrade all 3 of your air defenses at the exact same time. Maybe stagger those, but everything else, it doesn't matter. You can do them all at once and it'll be over with, and then you'll be stronger for it. I prioritize defenses and traps after offense and resources just because being able to attack and get loot is more important than defending your own loot. You don't lose a lot versus how much you can gain. So I always prioritize my offense first. But defenses wise, my last things I'll upgrade probably will be mortars, cannons, and then from the trap section, the spring traps and the bombs. And then don't forget your walls too, guys. Upgrade your walls. That's where you put your extra loot. Like, put your extra loot whenever you do a big farming session. Dump all of your loot into walls except for what you need to do your builders and upgrade your builders, or not upgrade your builders, using your builders to upgrade stuff. So your walls will max out relatively quickly. Actually, I had my Town Hall 6 walls maxed out in like 2 days. So it's insane how fast that happens. So guys, that is my upgrade guide for Town Hall 7. Very basic. It may not seem basic for a new player, but whenever you get used to things like Town Hall 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, Town Hall 7 seems relatively simple. I mean, these pages get really wide, really big, lots going on. So just stick with the program, take snapshots, or, somebody share the lists in the comments section. I'll pin it if somebody does that. And yeah, we'll see you guys at Town Hall 7. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.